Hello, everybody, and welcome back to All in AI. I'm Jeff Jones. So glad to have you guys here today. Today, we are going to start off with some news articles, of course, like usual. So, our first story comes out of the UE, kind of an important story about artificial intelligence, and that is that the EU Artificial Intelligence Act. What businesses need to know. So on March 13th, which was last week, the European Parliament approved the Artificial Intelligence Act, also nearly after 3 years of deliberation. The EU Artificial Intelligence Act is the first major regulatory act aimed directly at addressing the risks posed by commercialization, development of artificial intelligence. The EU Parliament voted in favor of the act, which is expected to become law in May after approval from EU member states. The EU Act separates AI systems into risk categories: unacceptable risk, high risk, limited or transparency risk, or minimal risk. Any AI system deemed to pose an unacceptable risk is prohibited from being used in the EU. Unacceptable risks systems include AI platforms that use social scoring, such as evaluating individuals based on social behavior or personal traits causing unfavorable treatment. Predictive policing, real-time biometric identification system in most circumstances, and manipulative or deceptive practices. AI systems that pose a high risk are not prohibited, but they are heavily regulated. High-risk systems include platforms that operate or manage critical infrastructure, such as road traffic, water, gas, and electricity, impact access to or admissions to educational institutions, make employment-related decisions, and are used in the administrative of justice or elections. So those are highly regulated. High-risk AI providers must, among other requirements, implement a risk management system, conduct data governance to ensure that the training data is relevant, sufficient representative, and to the extent possible, error-free and complete to avoid bias. Also, they will design the system to allow human oversight and provide documentation to demonstrate compliance. So these are the first real teeth act that we have coming out of the EU. I think really important that we all stay up to date on what is going on. What are some potential ways to regulate AI? So I will continue. General purpose AI, or GPAI systems, large language model systems capable of performing a wide range of tasks, will not be classified as high risk, but must meet certain transparency requirements, including compliance with laws. The publication of summaries of any copyrighted information used for training and the labeling of AI-generated content. GPAI systems that pose systemic risk will be more strictly regulated. Minimal risk AI systems are not regulated under the EU AI Act. These include common AI systems such as spam filters and search and recommendation engines. Non-compliance with the EU AI Act can result in low-grade penalties, including non-financial warnings, with more egregious violations resulting in fines up to the greater of 35 million euro, or up to 7% of the provider's total worldwide annual revenue. The EU, that has some teeth. The EU Act will take effect gradually, with prohibited risks commencing 6 months after the entry into the force, and high-risk systems addressed 24 to 36 months after implementation. Any business, regardless of where it is based, that has EU presence or puts an AI system into service in Europe will be subject to this act. Those that only deploy AI systems outside of Europe are subject to the AI Act when the output produced by their AI systems is used in Europe, with some exceptions. This is a broad reach. And any U.S. business that develops or provides AI systems at any level, anywhere in the world, should review their developmental efforts to enable compliance once the AI Act takes effect. While there is no similar federal legislation currently pending in the U.S., the federal government has taken steps to address AI-related issues on a national level. In the absence of federal legislation, U.S.-based businesses will face risk of patchwork regulation at the state level, similar to what we have experienced in privacy regulations in the U.S. The lawyers in Armstrong Teasdale's AI practice counsel clients in the use of AI in their business and legal regulatory implications that come with it. They are continued to monitor this and other related legislation. If you have any questions regarding the AI Act, please contact your regular AT lawyer or the ones listed here. So I think one thing to take out of that I just noticed, well, there's no similar federal legislation currently pending in the U.S. In the absence of federal legislation, U.S.-based businesses will face a patchwork of regulation at the state level. And so our next story is already about that. I think we talked last week about how Utah already passed some legislation, or it's in the pipe, to address artificial intelligence. So if we take a look at the next story, actually, the next story is about, excuse me, it should be about Texas. Yes. So how Texas is looking into crafting artificial intelligence. So this comes out of Austin. The hottest topic discussed at this year's South by Southwest had to be the growing implications of potential uses of artificial intelligence. This comes at a time when Texas leaders will meet to potentially craft policy suggestions about how the state can utilize AI and create safeguards ahead of next year's regular legislative session. House Bill 26D, which the governor signed into law last year, created an AI advisory council for the state. The legislation's author, Texas Representative Giovanni Capriolone of Southlake, will serve as the council's co-chair after House Speaker Dade Phelan named him to the role. Governor Greg Abbott appointed another 4 people to serve on the council. This includes 2 Austinites, security expert Dean Teffer and attorney John Bash. The others are Mark Stone, the chief information officer at Texas A&M University, and Angela Wilkins, the executive director of the Ken Kennedy Institute at Rice University. Raul Charizvisan, an AI policy advisor for Texas 2036, supported the creation of this council, but said the members have a tall task for them. With having this council already actively looking at what it is, taking that inventory and taking the steps, looking at what the pitfalls could be there, as well as how things can be improved upon improved government services, I think it's very relevant and very timely. Frequently, things like this can be made a little bit behind and more reactive, and this was very much a more proactive and prospective and proactive piece of legislation that I think is good for the state of Texas, especially given how quickly this technology is coming along. And I think that brings a good point. We've seen Utah do legislation. We're now seeing Texas enact legislation. I'm sure other states have already done it. I just haven't presented it here on the show. And so I think what we're looking for is we want to have some sort of, instead of having patchwork, like the previous article said, we don't want to have a patchwork of, it's okay to do it here because so many AI products cross state borders, cross international borders. And so we're probably looking at federal legislation at some point, something instead of a patchwork. And I think that's probably the best route, in my opinion, like it said in the article about the European Union. You can't have, if so many of these AI products are going to be worldwide, that we really need to be on the same page with all the partners out there. So on to the next, as they say, into a little bit more of a legal angle. We have DOJ launches a whistleblower pilot program to crack down on artificial intelligence misuse. So we've talked about it in the past about potential misuses of artificial intelligence, and here we go. We're checking to see that. We'll get into the article. Following a year of new DOJ policies and guidance designs to incentivize companies to self-report misconduct and to cooperate with government investigations. Good luck with that, by the way. The DOJ has now added a new pilot whistleblower rewards program. In other remarks at the American Bar Association's 39th Annual National Institute on White-Collar Crime, Deputy Attorney General Lisa Monaco and Acting Assistant Attorney General Nicole Argentieri both explained that the new whistleblower policy is designed to incentivize individuals to disclose corporate misconduct through financial rewards from any resulting forfeiture of criminal proceedings. Monaco also announced sentencing enhancements applicable to individuals and corporations' prosecutions for the misuse of AI, and warned compliance officers that the DOJ will consider how well a company mitigates the risk of AI when assessing a company's compliance program. So my own my own interjection into this is, I kind of scoffed at self-reporting. If you pay attention to the news in the last couple of years, you've noticed that the aircraft company Boeing has a self-reporting fiasco with their 737 MAX 8, and coming to realization for many people that a lot of the reporting that is done through the FFA comes through employees of Boeing. And it's not just Boeing. I'm sure it's corporations that conduct self-reporting. Obviously, I can see a major problem with self-reporting, especially when your paycheck comes from the company. I don't know if I agree with that. I think this article leads, back to the previous article in my comments, where I just think we don't need a patchwork. We need some serious regulation on how to proceed with this. Some logical, reasonable legislation that deals with stakeholders, that understands the aspects of how artificial intelligence can be misused. And so moving forward, I'd like to see something like that. But before anything is like that is enacted, the DOJ can say, hey, we can't make legislation, but we can offer, rewards for whistleblowers who are seeing artificial intelligence being misused. So that is definitely one of the things that we might want to take a look at, considering that we don't have, national legislation on AI. So a little bit more about this, the new carrot, that's the whistleblower pilot program. Monaco began her speech reiterating that the DOJ's focused on investing the most significant resources into the most serious cases, holding individuals accountable and pursuing tough penalties for repeat offenders. As she has in previous speeches, she again discussed the DOJ's carrot and stick approach, which is one that I use in my lectures, in my classes. I literally will bring carrots and pretzel sticks to my class if all my students turn their essays in on time. It's a little pun. It's punny, I guess you could say, but I'm a big fan of the carrot and stick approach. So Monaco says she's going to use the carrot and stick approach to combating corporate malfeasance, announcing this new whistleblower program. Similar to the awards awarded to whistleblowers under the False Claims Act, whereby a whistleblower can receive a portion of the government's recovery, under the DOJ's new whistleblower program, if an individual reports new corporate or financial misconduct, that individual could be awarded a portion of the recovered forfeiture. Monaco acknowledged the history of successful federal whistleblower programs, such as those offered by the SEC, or the Security and Exchange Commission, and the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, the CFTC, but explained that this initiative is intended to fill gaps, there's that term again that we love to talk about, to fill gaps in other agencies' programs. For example, Argentieri highlighted that the DOJ anticipates that the program could prove especially useful in developing foreign corruption cases that are outside the jurisdiction of the SEC, including FCPA violations by non-issuers. The DOJ plans to develop and implement this pilot program over the next 90 days with a formal start date later this year. Thus far, the basic guidelines to providing payment to whistleblowers, as further outlined by Argentieri, are as follows. The information provided must be original, non-public, truthful, and not already known to the government, such that the whistleblower is the first in the door. The whistleblower cannot have participated in the wrongdoing disclosed. Recovery is only available after victims are first compensated for their loss. Recovery is only permitted in cases where there isn't an existing financial disclosure incentive, including rewards under the False Claims Act or other programs. The programs similar to the SEC and CFTC programs that limit rewards cases in which the agency orders sanctions of $1 million or more will have a monetary threshold to focus DOJ's resources on the most significant cases. So there will be a monetary threshold. The Whistleblower Program appears to be the latest tool in the DOJ's overall strategy to hold individuals accountable, to encourage companies to step up and own up, to promptly report misconduct to the government, whether viewed as deputizing companies or just seeking active cooperation through this new tool. The DOJ hopes not only to uncover misconduct, but also to push companies to voluntarily self-report. And like the DOJ's policy regarding voluntary self-disclosure, the new Whistleblower Program guidance is clear. Only the first one in the door benefits. According to companies, may now be more willing to voluntarily self-disclose conduct for fear that a whistleblower with a large financial incentive could beat them to the punch. Monaco also stated that the DOJ will be evaluating the success of the pilot programs recently announced by the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Southern District of New York and Northern District of California. Those programs incentivize self-reporting by offering non-prosecution agreements rather than financial awards to potential whistleblowers that participated in misconduct. And finally, section about combating the risk of AI. In addition to this program, Monaco announced that the DOJ is committed to combating the risk posed by AI, which can be used to supercharge illegal activities. She specifically mentioned the use of AI in fraud, price fixing, and market manipulation schemes, something that we've discussed here on the show. The DOJ's focus on AI will manifest in two ways. First, prosecutors will impose stiffer sentences on individuals and corporate defendants that deliberately misuse AI to perpetrate white-collar crime. Second, prosecutors will assess a company's ability to manage AI-related risks as part of an overall compliance effort. This will be part of the DOJ's evaluation of corporate compliance programs. Monaco's announcements should prompt companies to ensure that they have sufficiently incorporated AI risk management into their compliance program. Companies already using automated trading likely have thought about the risk of AI poses, but even for companies that are not engaged in AI-based trading, it is clear that the DOJ expects compliance programs to have tools to detect and combat potential misuses of AI. So, we kind of, this show so far, we've talked about the changes in the AI Act. Texas is also moving to make some regulatory changes. Last week, we talked about Utah and their regulation, and now the DOJ has said that they will enact a whistleblower program similar to existing programs. So, as we can see, I know, there's a lot of fear about artificial intelligence. I think fear drives the market, right? Humans, we are very emotional, and we fear things, and we fear what we don't know. And there's a lot of unknown in artificial intelligence. So Whistleblower program is one way that they're trying to combat that. I'm not sure how successful. I guess they've had success in similar programs in the past. So, instead of regulating the heck out of people, you can at least, without legislation, at least you can offer people a place to report it. What did we say after 9/11? If you see something, say something. All right, so shifting gears a little bit, I got a couple of you guys in there. Drop a chat just to say hello. It'd be nice to see who's out there. We'll move on to the next story, and that is into finances. And the last story we talked about using AI as a trading tool, or maybe using it to make automated trades. So this one is intelligence AI stocks. Are they no-brainer buys? So Bill Gates' net worth currently stands at $130 billion. That's enough to make him the 6th wealthiest individual in the world. Gates' world ranks even higher on the list had he not donated $59 billion through the years to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Gates unsurprisingly stock AI stock. So you probably wouldn't be surprised in the least by Gates' top AI stocks. Almost 34% of Gates Foundation trust portfolio is invested in Microsoft. Not to be obviously he was the former Microsoft billionaire, and so it's not a surprise that he owns that much stock in Microsoft. The billionaire co-founded the technology company and served as CEO for 25 years. He helped make Microsoft successful, and Microsoft helped make him successful as well. Much of Microsoft's recent success is due to its AI initiatives. The company has integrated OpenAI's groundbreaking GPT-4 large language model through the product lineup. The company is also a major investor in OpenAI. Current Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella noted that the company's fiscal Q2 call that over half of the Fortune 500 companies will be the Azure AI cloud platform. Microsoft is also attracting AI startups, including Perplexity and Symphony AI. Microsoft's GitHub Copilot is the world's most widely deployed AI tool for developers. Its Copilot technology has also been embedded in the Windows operating system, the Microsoft 365 cloud platform. Nadella said that the company's research showed that using generative AI tools can improve work productivity by as much as 70%. 70%. I think we all need a pay raise then. Or more time off, huh? Another AI stock with a twist. Okay, so less than 0.6% of the Gates Foundation Trust is invested in Schrodinger. Okay, so if you guys, a little science and history lesson quickly. Schrodinger. Hey, Jack, nice to see you in chat. Thanks for joining me. Schrodinger, that nonetheless makes Gates' charitable organization the second largest owner of Schrodinger, with a stake of over 11%. When an analyst spoke to CFO Gregory Porgs last year, the analyst referred to Schrodinger as an AI company. Porgs quickly corrected him. Schrodinger views itself as a software company focused on drug development and material science, which it is. However, many people outside the company think of Schrodinger as an AI stock for good reason. That's really funny because, as we know, Schrodinger's cat, for a little quick science history lesson, Schrodinger, the scientist, would do thought experiments, and his thought experiment was, I know this is gross, if people love cats, I apologize, this is not my idea, but his idea was, if you put poison in a box with a cat, the theory is that the cat is both dead and alive simultaneously, and the only way that you know whether it is alive or dead is the moment that you open the box. So the cat is simultaneously dead and alive, and that has to do with the nature of the universe and physics. But in this article, they just said, no, we're a software company, and then everyone else is saying, no, you're an AI company, and I guess we don't know until we open the box, right? So I thought that's kind of funny that it's called Schrodinger, and they're like, no, we're a software company, and they're like, no, you're an AI company. I guess we'll have to open the box and find out. But anyway, Schrodinger's drug pipeline includes 2 proprietary programs in earlier stage clinical testing, plus several other discovery and preclinical testing. In addition, the company has partnered with big drug makers such as Bristol Myers Squibb and Eli Lilly, as well as smaller biotechs such as Nimbus Therapeutics and Structural Therapeutics. So if you trust Bill Gates's investment portfolio, you might want to take a look at getting some Schrodinger. It is both a good stock and a bad stock simultaneously. Okay, moving on to our next story today, and about artificial intelligence. Again, nice to see you in here, Jack. Thanks to everybody else who joined. This artificial intelligence AI company has returned nearly 5,830% in just 5 years, and it's headed for the S&P 500. Is it too late to buy? So I'm not here to give you too much advice on should you be buying stocks or shouldn't you, but artificial intelligence stocks are kind of the big growers these days. This is what some have said that it's what has driven the market recently, that a lot of the artificial intelligence stocks are responsible for all-time highs and what is driving the market. So I think it's relevant. So let's take a look at this. The Magnificent Seven stocks are helping power the markets to new highs. But this other AI company is playing an important role behind the scenes. Perhaps the biggest business powering the markets right now is AI, artificial intelligence companies. It seems that every software developer is eager to cash in on AI euphoria, and technology stocks are reaping the benefits. As the S&P 500 and NASDAQ composite trades at record levels, my eyes have been on one stock in particular. The best part, it's not one of the Magnificent Seven. Shares of Super Micro Computing, which currently are down 6%, have soared 5,000% in just 5 years. So far in 2024, they have risen over 300% as the market closes on March 8th, last week. A lot of the momentum pushing the stock right now revolves around the company's latest milestone, inclusion into the S&P 500. This company is playing an important role in the AI realm. Let's dig into the Supermicro's business and get an understanding of why the stock has gone parabolic. So you can take a look. It has definitely risen. Market cap of 56 billion right now, and about 11 million volume out there. Average volume 10 million. A superb run to the top, but Supermicro plays a crucial role in the intersection of semiconductors and artificial intelligence. Now, if we've paid attention to the issues with the supply chain over the COVID-19 pandemic, we know that semiconductors were a huge issue with that. And so we can tell that there are semiconductors in just about everything that has a cord on it or runs on battery. The company designs integrated systems for IT architecture, which could include storage clusters or server racks. Given rising interest in graphics processing units, GPUs, from the likes of NVIDIA, which is an AI company, Advanced Micro Devices over the last year, Supermicro's service has been in high demand in the background. Revenue is growing over 100% annually, and AI tailwinds make for an encouraging long-term outlook. It's no wonder one Wall Street analyst has referred to Semi-Micro as the stealth NVIDIA. There are some lingering concerns. One of the most important things for investors to understand is that Supermicro is very much a hardware operation, and is a margin profile is much lower than you may think. For the quarter ending December 31st, gross margin was 15%. This represented a decrease from the prior quarter. Management addressed the margin deterioration during the earnings call, explaining that aggressive investment in new designs and market share acquisition were the culprits. So another stock to take a look at. And please, this is not stock advice. I'm not endorsing Supermicro. I'm simply just reading this article. So take that for what it's worth. I think personally 5,000%, you're not going to see another 5,000% on that. stock. Maybe you want to find another stock that's much lower. That is, but the overall point that I'd like to make on this is that a lot of money is being made in artificial intelligence, and that, like it said, the Magnificent Seven are driving the market thanks to AI or AI stocks. Okay, next article actually sent in by Jack. Thank you, Jack, for sharing this article with me, and just checked it today. It says that Chinese researchers unveil breakthrough in LLM compression. So let's take a look. Chinese researchers have introduced a groundbreaking compression technique that aimed at addressing the hardware constraints associated with deploying large language models. LLMs use a lot of data and they use a lot of power. This new approach, termed short GPT, has been developed by experts from Beichun Incorporated and Chinese Information Processing Laboratory Institute of Software, Chinese Academy of Science. The method builds upon existing pruning techniques, offering a solution to mitigate the interference costs of LLMs without requiring additional training. That's training of the model, not training of the person. Revolutionizing model compression. Okay, so the short GPT method introduces a novel metric known as block influence to evaluate hidden state transformations within the LLM. By utilizing BI scores, the system identifies and eliminates redundant parameters, thereby optimizing the model for deployment on hardware with limited resources. This approach involves pruning layers based on their impact on model performance, ensuring that only the essential components are retrained. Extensive experiments have demonstrated the superiority of short GPT over existing state-of-the-art SOTA pruning methods. Unlike conventional approaches that often rely on quantization methods, short GPT operates independently, enabling significant parameter reduction and computational efficiency without compromising model precision. This innovation underscores the remarkable redundancy within LLM architectures and showcases the potential for streamlined compression techniques. So, although that's quite involved, basically, I think what we take away from this article is that by developing short GPT, we are able to remove redundancies, and we're making ChatGPT, all artificial LLM models more efficient. And as I said earlier, they use a lot of data and they use a lot of energy. So this could be something that could definitely, it's almost expected, right? Whatever technologies put out, we make it more efficient. That's just what we do. That's what computers do. That's kind of the trajectory of science and technology. So not a surprise, but an important breakthrough nonetheless. Well, we're going to switch ideas here and more into the sports world. So those of you who are enjoying the March Madness, who are following along in March Madness, you might be using artificial intelligence. So how bracketologists are using artificial intelligence this March Madness. So this comes from James Pollard through the AP, and it says college hoops fans might want to think again before pinning their hopes on a perfect March Madness bracket on artificial intelligence. Well, the advancements in AI into everyday life has made it one of the busiest phrases of last year. Its application in bracketology circles is not so new. Even so, the annual bracket consists still provide plenty of surprises for computer science aficionados who've spent years honing their models with past NCAA tournament rules. They have found that machine learning alone cannot quite solve the limited data and incalculable human element of the big dance. All these things are art and science, and they're just as much human psychology as they are statistics, said Chris Ford, a data analyst who lived in Germany. Who lives in Germany. You have to actually understand people, and that's what's so tricky about it. And I would agree. We always have like a number 5 that beats a number 1. We always have these upsets that, computer models can't exactly check. Are the players healthy that day? Did they get a good night's sleep? These are the intangibles, the X factors. So the article continues. Casual fans may spend a few days this week strategically deciding whether to maybe lean on a team with the best mojo, like Sister Jean's 2018 Loyal Chicago squad that made the Final Four, or to perhaps ride the hottest shooting player like Steph Curry in his breakout 2008 performance that led Davidson to the Sweet 16. The technology inclined are chasing goals even more complicated than selecting the winner of all 67 matchups in both men's and women's tournaments. They are fine-tuning mathematical functions in the pursuit of the most objective model for predicting success in the upset-riddled tournament. Some are enlisting AI to perform their codes or to decide which aspects of the team's resume they should weigh most heavily. The odds of crafting a perfect bracket are stacked against any competitor. However, advanced their tools may be, an informed fan making certain assumptions based on previous results, such as a 1 seed beating a 16 seed, has a 1 in 2 billion chance at perfection. A 1 in 2 billion chance at perfection, according to Ezra Miller, a mathematics and statistical science professor at Duke. Roughly speaking, it would be like choosing a random person in the Western Hemisphere. Artificial intelligence is likely very good at determining probability that teams win, but even with their models, he added that the random choice of who's going to win the game that's evenly matched is still a random choice. For the 10th straight year, the data science community, Kaggle, is hosting a machine learning madness. Traditional bracket competitions are all or nothing. Participants write one team's name into each slot, but machine learning madness requires users to submit a percentage reflecting their confidence that the team will advance. Kaggle provides a large data set from the past results for people to develop their algorithms. That includes box scores with information on a team's free throw percentage, turnovers, and assists. Users can then turn the information over to an algorithm to figure out which statistics are most predictive of tournament success. I don't know about you guys, but I've never really had a very good bracket. I've usually only gotten about half of them. It's a fair fight. There's people who know a lot about basketball and can use what they know, said Jeff Sonis, a statistical chess analyst who helped found the competition. It's also possible for someone who doesn't know a lot about basketball, but is good at learning how to use data to make predictions. I've heard some people, anecdotally, they said, "Oh, my girlfriend, she picks the teams based on if she likes their uniforms or not, and beats me all the time." So, there is a randomness to it, and you don't always have to be a sports fan to be successful. So, think again when using your artificial intelligence for your March Madness bracket. If you've used a bracket that works, let us know. All right, on to the next story here, and we're moving more into we talked last week about how either last week or the prior week about universities launching new artificial intelligence programs. And so here we have UC Irvine launches customized generative artificial intelligence tool. The Zot GPT chat enables faculty and staff to explore AI in a secure environment. So for people like me who are educators, this might really be interesting if you have an internal LLM, you have an internal large language model that's not, we use the term intranet. It stays inside our community, inside our university. So this is kind of an interesting thing. Irvine, California, March 18th, which is today. The University of California, Irvine has developed a customized generative artificial intelligence solution called Zot GPT. One of the first of its kind in a UC system, the tool was created to allow UC Irvine associates to explore AI in a safer, tailor-made environment. It officially launched for all faculty and staff in January, with students access forthcoming. In addition to Zot GPT, UC Irvine offers a variety of vendor-based products, services for faculty and staff. Zot GPT is about more than supporting innovation with the latest tools, said Tom Andriola, Vice Chancellor for Data and Information Technology. It's also about ensuring that we provide broad access to these new tools across our community in a secure and responsible way with the proper supports structure. ZotGPT can be leveraged for teaching, research, and redesigning work processes, and can serve as an engine for facilitating collaboration. We look forward to fully embracing the potential of generative AI in 2024 and beyond. So let me know in the chat or down in the comments what you guys think about ZotGPT or a model similar to that that only uses an LLM inside an internal. Like you would have one at your, if you worked at a big corporation, you'd have an internal LLM that doesn't access the outside world. So that's kind of interesting. You can put your own safeguards in place. I could see this being utilized in education even, because you'd say, well, we don't want to have students using ChatGPT, but they could use, not Zot, because that's the proprietary for Irvine, but we would have our own GPT, our in-school GPT that students can use and interact with that won't write them an essay. So I think that this is a really interesting take and utilization of the technology, and I would like to see something like this, implemented in schools. A couple of the schools that I work at, they don't allow ChatGPT, so it's just blocked. But if you had an internal large language model, that might be really beneficial. You could set up guidelines, you could set up safeguards, and you could prevent students from writing essays or from committing plagiarism, but they would still have access to the underlying technology. So that's pretty cool. Let's read on a little bit. ZotGPT offers a mobile phone experience and voice chat. It protects the confidentiality of person and institutional data, including uploaded files. This enables the outside vendors cannot use proprietary data to train their models. Commercial AI services typically do not have these safeguards. ZotGPT chat is currently available in an open beta version. Faculty and staff adoption is strong and accelerating as the university works to refine its features. Key items in the pipeline include internet-enabled responses, image generation, custom chatbots using departmental data and websites, ability of faculty and staff to use ZotGPT in their own software programs, including to conduct groundbreaking research. ZotGPT chat gives UC Irvine research a powerful platform to explore the potential of generative AI in ways that protect the integrity of the data while simultaneously providing us access to industrial strength tools, said Eric Arkilik, Chief Innovation Officer. With its access, we can cost-effectively run comprehensive experiments across a wide range of applications. Really interesting that a university would develop its own large language model to be used. And I think that it's a really great point that they bring up in the article that what if I want to use some internal data? And I want to use, but I don't want the potential that my data could be leaked or that it would be out into the ether. So if I use my internal, ZotGPT at UC Irvine to develop my data, then I'm not risking any potential issues. This definitely hits home to me as someone who's an AI researcher in education. If you guys don't know, I recently got topic proposal approval, and I'll be researching artificial intelligence in the next couple of years, and starting to write my dissertation in the fall, conducting research. And so this is right in my wheelhouse that I would be really interested to see this kind of technology being used. Leave a comment if you want, and let me know what you think. So from one university to the next, we talked recently about a couple other universities offering programs in artificial intelligence. And so now Central Florida University will offer a degree in artificial intelligence. University President Jack Nicklaus said during a March 13th State of the University address to the university is developing a bachelor's program focused on applied math, AI, and data science. That degree would launch as early as this fall. Well, that's moving as fast as artificial intelligence. It will incorporate AI into the one-credit university experience course for first-year students and also has plans for certificate programs. It will also hold AI and science workshops this summer for high school teachers. Really interesting. So, I think we're going to see more and more of this. Universities and colleges adopting their own artificial intelligence programs. And we've talked about in the past medical applications to the use of artificial intelligence. And here's from the La Jolla Light guest commentary. Artificial intelligence can make healthcare safer and more professional. So in the 1960s, Dr. Warner Slack built the first computer capable of asking patients about their medical history. Surprisingly, when it came to directly interviewing patients, the computer turned out to be more accurate and detailed than physicians. In the face of this breakthrough, Dr. Slack was asked whether computers replace doctors. His response, any doctor who can be replaced by a computer deserves to be replaced by a computer. Okay, that sounds kind of harsh. Computers have changed healthcare in many ways. The medical questions you answer using your phone today probably contain some of the same questions Dr. Slack's research participants answered in a vacuum tube-powered computer in the 60s. Today, this information is a core part of the way healthcare is delivered. Artificial intelligence is on a similar path. AI didn't enter healthcare until recently, especially in the modern form of its known as deep learning. Many of the advancements over the past decade have focused on making it more useful. It has only recently begun to find its way into clinical practice. Although its adaptation is growing quickly, AI is already playing a key role in making healthcare safer and more potential. I think last week we talked about using AI in doctors' notes, in generating notes. And so here we go. We just see a little bit more expansion, a little bit more elaboration on that. Today, if you arrive at the UC San Diego Health with a fever and an elevated heart rate, an AI tool monitored emergency room patient will alert your medical team that you may have sepsis, a potential deadly reaction to a bloodstream infection. Since rolling out this sepsis tool, more patients have received timely treatment for sepsis, resulting in fewer deaths. This adds to a growing body of research from around the country showing AI's potential to save lives. AI is also helping make healthcare more personal. While computers have made care more accessible, our reliance on them means clinical staff spend more time typing on computers and less time with face-to-face with patients. This problem was the focus of the book Deep Medicine by Eric Topol, Executive Vice President of Scripps Research and another pioneer in the use of AI in healthcare. While many solutions have been thrown at this problem, generative AI may be able to help. Generative AI is the type of AI focused on generating text, image, and videos. Popularized by ChatGPT, there are now several variations of this technology, many of which can be downloaded and run on your computer. Now, I wonder, had this research or this article also considered what we saw at UC Irvine? What if hospitals had their own proprietary LLM? I think that's something that should be looked into as well. I don't know. That might be an interesting application. So definitely seeing AI reach all sorts of aspects of our lives. Finally, we have two more stories for you today. And this one is 3 ways artificial intelligence will revolutionize machine shops. So we've talked about in the past about robots and robots taking jobs and what's that going to mean. And so here's an article about 3 ways that machine shops will be revolutionized. Not a day goes by, and this is by Udo Jan, the general manager at Modern Engineering. So this is modernmachineshop.com. Not a day goes by without seeing another article on AI. It has become a buzz phrase in the last year. The problem with AI is that it gives many the same fear that robotics has in the past. The human mind will quickly goes to a place where the technology is going to destroy mankind. When robotics was introduced into the mainstream shop, people could not help but think robots were going to hurt them and take over the world. It seems like AI has developed the same kind of visual problem as we fear AI could take over all of our computing systems. Thanks a lot, Terminator 2. Well, this could happen if AI is no longer kept under control. I believe it is being closely monitored to prevent problems. We talked about that earlier. Talked about the EU Act, and we talked about the Whistleblower Program that's just been set up through the Department of Justice. Properly used AI will help revolutionize the machining industry and bring it with tools that make our machine shops perform better. The examples that they give: tool selection. These days, when we encounter different materials, we need to select the best milling and turning tools for the job. Unfortunately, research on the internet and via traditional methods such as a salesperson or trade show can be slow and limited. AI has access to the vast majority of knowledge and experience in the world. It can present tooling appropriate for our current task very quickly. This means we'll be able to continually improve machining processes with the latest tools. AI can also process evaluations of tooling very quickly from online expert experiences and come up with a list of alternative tools if the initial recommended tooling is unavailable. This tooling selection via AI will make our shops much more productive. Part 2, CNC programming. AI will help us program machine tools much faster than before. There's so much knowledge on the internet in terms of programming strategies, and AI has access to all of it. It can evaluate programming practices much faster and adopt numerous strategies for getting a program just right. It may start by offering strategies that take into consideration certain attributes that we're looking for. This could be the balance between a program's cycle time and tooling longevity based on different materials. It will optimize tool paths much better than many of the canned cycles of today because it will consider many more variables with its access to more information. This does not mean that we will not be in charge of the programs, but we will have many more options and strategies than we have today. These options can then be balanced by what we think is important and what AI can and how AI can implement them. And I think that's the same thing that I've been talking about time and time again. These are tools. We should see AI as a tool, not as a takeover. And I think that's what this is saying, right? Then these options can then be balanced by what we think is important. And finally, the third reason why is machine vibration monitoring. There has been a lot of research on machine vibration monitoring. We know that harmonics in machining truly affects performances and surface finish. Unfortunately, many of the monitoring systems of today are rather manual and slow to get results. This means lots of shops must go through lots of trial and error to find the right speed and feeds to minimize the harmonics and maximize performance. AI can truly begin to solve the slowness of this process. With built-in sensors put into machine tools, we can have AI constantly tuning the machine processes. It will also remember previous settings, which it can be used as baselines. I would think this would revolutionize the machining process by making machine vibrations monitoring more mainstream. Machine tools could use AI to remove chatter automatically, while at the same time improve feeds and speeds to maximize productivity. Can you imagine an AI actively making your programs better from a speed and a feed perspective based on active vibration harmonics monitoring? I think there should be a question mark there. I guess I found my first typo of the day. The quality of parts and finishes would increase and cycle times could become much faster. So that's something I don't really know a lot about. I'm glad we read that article because I don't really know a lot about machining. I took a machining course in high school on the lathe, and I did some very minor uses of that. But again, artificial intelligence isn't here to do the work for us. It's here to make the work product better. And we got one more article today, very brief, and that is talking about how Apple is in talks to build Google's Gemini artificial intelligence engine into the iPhone. You would think that this article would be a lot. Well, I guess there's a nice picture here, and there is a video, but basically, according to people familiar with the situation, setting the stage for a blockbuster agreement that would shake up the AI industry. The two companies are in active negotiations to let Apple license Gemini, Google's set of AI models, to power some new features coming to the iPhone software this year, said the people who asked not to be identified because the deliberations are private. Apple also recently held discussions with OpenAI and has considered using its model, according to the people. So it looks like Apple is shopping around. Are we going to use OpenAI, or are we going to use Google Gemini? Which tool? I mean, I don't know their application, but I started to like Google's Gemini a little bit better than OpenAI. I don't know if that's what they go with, and there's always the price point to have to deal with. But very interesting. I think it was just a matter of time before we saw artificial intelligence in our iPhones and our our Android phones. So here we will see artificial intelligence is going to reach your new smartphone before you know it. Quite interesting. Lots always happening in the AI space every week. So leave your questions and comments. Shoot me, you can join the Discord. I'll put that in the comment section. Always happy to have interactions from you guys. Just leaving a comment saying hi really helps the algorithm. Just, leaving a question or doing whatever. Any interactions with the channel are a big help. I enjoy doing this. I think it's a lot of fun to talk about artificial intelligence. I'll give you a little update on my own personal artificial intelligence journey, and that is I completed my class on Friday. I got topic approval in that class, so I passed the class and I got topic approval. I will be exploring how educators, specifically instructional designers, have used ChatGPT or other LLMs to design courses. And so my dissertation will be about the perceptions of instructional designers who've used AI tools to develop courses. And through that, I will lay the groundwork to develop, hopefully, after my dissertation is finished, I will, write a book, or I will try to do some experiments or research how to maximize the use of artificial intelligence in educational applications. Today I was very interested to see that article that from the University of California, Irvine. This one is, having an institution or a business have their own internal, GPT, as we call it. They call it Zot GPT. I guess every business or university could have their own. I think that's an application that I would definitely find interesting. The applications, I think we're always worried about security, right? We always have this fundamental concern about, am I going to get hacked, or is my data going to be used, or is it safe to share my data with ChatGPT, or, but developing, UC Irvine's developing its own internal GPT is really kind of groundbreaking. I think this is the kind of innovation and the utilization that we need to continue to kind of look for. So I think that's probably my favorite story of the day. You guys can tell me what your favorite story of the day is down in chat. Don't forget to like and subscribe, of course. I'll open it up to comments, questions, or concerns if you guys have any. Oh, great. Perfect. I am dropped a comment right as I was looking for it, stopping by to say hello. but I need to leave family over. My B-day is tomorrow. I'm going to wish for an AI subscription when I blow out the candles. Well, that is great. I'm so glad to see you in chat. I am for I am. You're definitely a regular viewer, and I appreciate it for joining. And happy birthday! Absolutely, happy birthday. Hope you have a great time with your family. Don't bug them too much about artificial intelligence, but absolutely that would be great. Or my own AI bot. So yeah, I guess if you got your own AI bot, that would be cool too. I think next week maybe we'll talk more, do some more news stories, and potentially also look into developing some more work on our own ChatGPT projects that we started. I started to do a little bit with writing a story, and I think we'll pick up that in the future. So look forward to that. I will also, if you haven't joined yet, you can join the Discord that is in the chat. It would be nice to have you guys stop by. I am says a Roomba doesn't count. Yeah, well, it's only a matter of time before we get artificial intelligence in a Roomba. I think it's a very basic program in a Roomba these days. But thank you for your interaction. Thank you, Jack, and I am. For the others that have watched or are going to watch this in the future, I really appreciate you guys coming along for the ride. I hope you find it interesting. But that's it for me this week. I will be back at the same time next week to discuss more about artificial intelligence. And so that's all. That's all for me this week. I hope you guys don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't yet. Drop me a comment. It really helps the algorithm. And I will see you guys all next week on another episode of All in AI with Jeff Jones. See you next time.